This movie doesn't scrape the bottom of the barrel. This movie isn't the bottom of the barrel. This movie isn't below the bottom of the barrel. This movie doesn't deserve to be mentioned in the same sentence with barrels. This is a review by Roger Ebert about today's movie. And I both completely agree and completely disagree with him, because there is no film on earth like Tom Green's directorial debut, which is either a giant compliment or a massive insult.
Ho 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 ho! Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to Delightfully Devilish, the show where we discuss films that all at once meet the criteria of being the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm your host, Jukebox Harry, and today we are looking at a film which won Worst Picture at 3 different award ceremonies and has gained a huge cult following. Freddy Got Fingered is really a one-of-a-kind film which is so absurd and over the top that it's nearly impossible to put into words. I'm actually going to have to break tradition in terms of how I structure my videos to talk about this film today. Freddy Got Fingered is the story of Gordon Brody, a guy living in Los Angeles who dreams of making it as an animator. After failing to impress the CEO of a major animated studio, he gives up and moves back home with his parents. He finds himself able to draw great images, but fails to write good characters to go with them, and he constantly argues with his dad about failing to make something of himself in life. After being inspired by a paraplegic scientist developing breakthrough rocket technology, he finds himself inspired to shoot for the stars once again. So he buckles down and creates the concept for an animated series inspired by his conflicts with his father. He takes this idea back to the CEO, who loves it and greenlights the production, giving Gord $1 million, and the success earns Gord his father's respect. That's the story of the film, and now that I've made it seem normal, let me explain every single thing that happens in between those plot points. Freddy Got Fingered starts with a montage of Tom Green skating through a shopping mall and causing a bunch of trouble for the customers and security. The only reason this scene is here is because Tom Green likes to skate and, well, MTV. And it ends with a predictable gag. He runs off to meet his mother, played by Julia Haggerty from Airplane, or Flying High if you're in Australia.
Why are you moving to Los Angeles to work in a cheese factory?
I'm not going to Hollywood just to work in a cheese sandwich factory. I'm going to Hollywood to shop my drawings. I'm going to be a famous animator like Charles Schultz.
It's gonna be fine.
That first line is packed with so much ridiculous exposition that it's either going to make you cringe or it might make you appreciate the fact that Tom Green's taking a satirical approach to writing dialogue in this film. And Rip Torn from Men in Black plays his father. Gord's parents gift him a car, which disappoints his brother Freddie, played by Eddie K. Thomas from American Pie.
It's because they love me more than they love you.
No, they don't.
This is the first sign that Gord's an asshole. People don't talk like that, and yet he does, and he just keeps rubbing it in.
Yeah, I only see one LeBaron, Freddie. I only see one. I don't see 2 LeBarons.
Gordy.
Oh, do you see 2?
Gordy.
Hey. Do you see 2 LeBarons?
Gordy.
Knock it off.
Come
Where's
on.
your LeBaron, Freddie? Where's your LeBaron?
Boys. Boys.
How many LeBarons? Are there 2 LeBarons? Hey,
Shut
no,
up!
there's 1 LeBaron.
And after a brief sentimental goodbye, we get this.
Get the fuck out of the way!
Gord drives to Hollywood, but stops along the way so he can quite literally go and jack off a horse.
Look at me, Daddy, I'm a farmer! Oh, this is fun! Look at me, Daddy, I'm a farmer!
And this is the crossroads of the film. 7 minutes into the movie, we're at the point where you decide whether you want to keep watching a film about a guy who thinks it's okay to jack off a horse. I researched this, none of this was fake. Tom Green literally jacked off that horse barehanded. There is nothing I can say about this scene that can add anything to it. I was 13 years old when I first watched this. 13 years old when I watched Tom Green perform a mild case of bestiality on a horse purely for the sake of shocking audiences. I don't know what profound impact that must have had on my sense of humor, but it definitely had to have done something to my upbringing. Watching this film in preparation for this video, I showed it to my best mate, who turned to me and said, "What the fuck are you showing me?" I told him, just wait.
This is only the beginning.
God starts his job at the cheese sandwich factory.
I'm sexy! I'm a sexy boy! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong! Ding dong!
Then he sneaks past security into an animation studio.
Oh, it's okay. I'm here with the bag.
He tries to find CEO Dave Davidson, but the receptionist, played by Drew Barrymore, informs him that the man is out to lunch.
His wife is dead.
Linda?
Yeah.
He'll be at that restaurant. God, he loved Linda.
Could I be your boyfriend? I love you.
Get out of here.
I was thinking.
A woman is dead.
I thought we could grieve together over the dead Linda.
Fuck off! You're a skinny loser! Someone call security!
Don't call them.
Shit! Ah!
I love Drew Barrymore so much. I love that she appeared in this film, and I love the fact that she played it so aggressive towards the end there. She appeared in this film solely because she was actually married to Tom Green at the time of this movie. She just wanted to support her husband in making a movie where he jacks off a horse. Bless. Gord bursts into a restaurant dressed as an English police officer to show off his drawings and talk about his ideas.
I'm not really a cop. My name's Gord, and I want to meet you to show you my drawings.
Are you kidding? You want to just barge into a restaurant, dress like a fucking English Bobby, and expect someone to give you a TV show?
I don't know, yeah? Please, just look at my drawings, okay?
Yeah, okay, all right. Fine.
I actually really like this character. He could turn around and be an asshole to Gord, which would be totally justified, but instead he actually offers him some constructive criticism.
The drawings are pretty good. but the characters are lame, okay?
God, the characters are lame. I'm a loser. I wish I was dead. Oh!
Wait.
Jesus, another curveball.
Suicide is badass.
Figure these animals out. You gotta figure them out. You gotta get inside the animals.
Nick Minute.
So this joke simply started as God taking something too literally, and then it became a gross out joke, and then he got hit by a fucking truck.
I wasn't expecting that to happen.
And then there's this. Depressed, God moves home, and a random kid comes and hits his face on the car. So far, Tom Green has given us jokes about suicide, bestiality, and children being injured. He really wants you to hate him. Or love him, maybe. He gets to work on a skate ramp, which he's apparently been working on for years, and coincidentally has finally finished on the day he returns home.
Will you two faggots stop making so fucking much noise? We're sleeping.
I don't like that word, but goddamn it, overly aggressive Rip Torn is funny. Freddy Got Fingered is either going to leave you asking why every 5 minutes, or it will leave you speechless. Tom Green can't just settle for a joke about a guy breaking his leg and the bone coming out of his knee. He has to get down and literally lick the thing. If Tom Green can find a way to make a joke more off-putting in this film, he will do it every single time. Gord goes to the hospital to visit his friend, but stops on the way to get a date with a disabled nurse.
Could you keep it down? This is a hospital room and I'm pregnant.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't realize that you were pregnant.
I don't hate you. See? You're handicapped. You're handicapped.
Go get me a real doctor!
I am
Get me a real doctor!
I'm a real doctor. There seems to be a little baby inside your body. Here, give me your hand, little brother. Wake up your baby! Oh, wake up your baby!
There is not enough washing powder on this planet for me to be able to smoke myself back to reality after watching that. Gord goes on his date with a nurse, which consists of him beating her legs with a bamboo stick until she has an orgasm, and then she pressures him into oral sex.
That's my umbilical cord.
Didn't you ever have that, removed?
It's taped. It's just for fun.
Someone actually wrote that. They put their pen on paper and had those thoughts come out of their brain. And then Gord is in the shower.
What the fuck is going on?
I'm underwater. Look, I found a treasure.
Get out of my goddamn scuba gear, you imbecile!
Some people must really hate Tom Green for making this movie, so they should at least enjoy watching Rip Torn beat the shit out of him.
I can walk backwards fast as you can. I can walk backwards fast as you can. Backwards man, the backwards man. I can walk backwards fast as you can. I can walk backwards fast as you can.
What? Dad, what? God, name her, you doing your stupid...
This scene might not have broken legs or horse dicks, but so far it's still just as dumb as everything else. The film tones down things a little bit to show Tom Green out on a date, trying to pretend that he has a job.
Did you need to...
Oh, yep. That's my, It's wireless. It uses satellites and terrestrial antennas.
Interesting.
Hello?
You're fired! You're fucking fired, Bob!
I'm talking about 40 million fucking points work here, Bob!
Fuck, you're an angry person, eh?
You're crippled.
You got a problem with my legs?
No, you've got a problem with your legs. Either that or you're just lazy.
Oh Jesus, even Rip Torn wants to push the limits in this film.
Daddy! Shut up! Shut up! Oh! Spanking King! Spanking King! Spanking King!
I don't know what I expected.
Set your expectations and predictions about Freddy Got Fingered at the door, because there's no way you could predict that this was going to happen in the film, or expect that anyone would ever want to make a film where this happens. Then we get another joke about Gord taking things too literally.
Maybe you just need to relax while you draw. You know, eat some food, play some music.
I only have 2 hands, Betty. How am I supposed to do all that?
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausage?
That is definitely my favourite scene in the film. It's just so wonderful. Rip Torn gets physical again, pulling the strings, breaking his keyboard, and then destroying his son's skate ramp. Gord tells his mum to leave his dad and go have sex with basketball players. Because, you know, we've all told our mum to do that from time to time. They go to family counselling, where in revenge, Gord makes up a false accusation of sexual abuse.
Well, at least I don't touch Freddy.
Hey, what?
He touches my little brother. He fingers him.
And that's where the title comes from. It's an arbitrary joke about child molestation, which didn't even actually happen in the story. The fact that the film was named after this makes no sense, but it also makes perfect sense. Because what can you title this film? With everything going on in it, what would you title this movie? You have to name this movie something equally inappropriate to everything that actually happens in the story. Freddy actually gets taken away by authorities because for some reason, everyone believes this guy.
He's a child molester! Ah! 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 You better run!
Daddy goes back to harass Gord again.
Yeah, fuck you.
Dude, fuck me? Is that what you said? Come on, guard. That's over here. Fuck me.
And his mother, who didn't know what to believe, walks in on this. Gord completely gives up, and this is meant to be emotional and sad. Even though Gord made false accusations about sexual abuse about his father, behaved incredibly inappropriate around any women he met, and is a complete fucking psychopath, you still feel bad for him. I mean, those drawings, that was his entire life. That was the one thing that kept him grounded. Gord gets a job making cheese sandwiches again.
I ordered a cheese sandwich and there's hardly any cheese in here.
We can't have people complaining that there's not enough cheese in the cheese sandwiches now, can we? If word of that were to get out, well, I could lose my job. I could lose all of this!
Tom Green actually had an obsession with the idea of cheese sandwiches. He actually thought it was hilarious that anyone would want cheese as the main ingredient in their sandwich. So he just kept on putting random fucking jokes about it in the film.
What the fuck am I supposed to do with that?
Oh, you could stick it in your bum bum.
That line actually took me back to my preschool days. I haven't thought about the word bum bum in years. Mum leaves Dad. The kid gets injured again. Gord realizes that his crippled girlfriend has reached her dreams of building a rocket-powered wheelchair and decides to try again. So he leaves to go get a job, which for some reason his dad doesn't approve of.
Bye-bye, Daddy. I'm going to get a jobby.
Daddy goes to interrogate Gord's friend on where to find him, and tracks him down to the animation studio in Hollywood, having chased him all the way there apparently. Then he throws Drew Barrymore into some glowing plastic barrels, because why not? Dave Davidson once again commends the drawings but says that he doesn't feel the characters are believable until Daddy comes on in and starts abusing people again. This convinces Davidson to immediately greenlight the idea for Gord's new show, Zebras in America.
I'm not getting a stupid job, Dad! I never had a part-time job in Africa!
How dare you?
Honestly, that's an animated show that I genuinely want to exist. I would love to see animated caricatures of Tom Green and Rip Torn getting into extreme situations like in Ren and Stimpy. Gord drives to the bank to cash his check with a shark for a reason which is never even explained. But first he dry humps an Asian guy and picks up a plant with his mouth. He spends some of the money renting out a military helicopter and buying expensive jewels for his girlfriend.
I don't care about jewels. I just wanna suck your cock.
But this turns out to just be a quarter of the money. Imagine what a character like Gord would do if he was given $750,000.
Surprise, Daddy! We're in Pakistan! I thought we could go sew some soccer balls together!
Pakistan?
Yep, he had his house moved all the way to Pakistan solely because of one completely irrelevant line from earlier in the film.
If this were Pakistan, you would have been sewing soccer balls when you were 4 years old.
We go for a drive. The house collapses, and then Tom Green sprays Rip Torn in elephant cum. Daddy finally tells Gord that he's proud of him, but then they get captured by terrorists, and Mum learns all about it by watching TV with her new man.
Hey, the Pentagon released this video.
Oh my god, of course Shaquille O'Neal is in this film. I mean, look at his filmography. Grown Ups 2, Jack and Jill, Kazam, Steel. Eventually they return home as national heroes. Is Freddy Got Fingered a bad film? It is as much a bad film as it is a good film. How this film actually got made is so beyond me. I understand that Tom Green had a lot of passion in this project, but the producers behind this film, did they see the script? Did they see the title? Did they see either of these things and was like, yeah, let's make that? But whoever did that, thank you, it's made me so happy. Why is Freddy Got Fingered considered one of the worst films of all time? Simple. It wants that reputation. Freddy Got Fingered is a straight up fuck you to high film society and to good taste. It's an experimental comedy aiming to push the limits of gross out comedy to the absolute extreme, and that's where its artistic merit comes into play. Tom Green has a very particular brand of humor, and this film just goes to show what he'll do with a $14 million budget if you give it to him. If you think that much money is too much, keep in mind, the exact same year, someone gave $47 million to Rob Schneider to make The Animal, and that was fucking terrible. The Animal is another ridiculous gross out comedy with ridiculous situations that rarely have any relevance to anything, but it also went for a PG rating. I watched both films around the same time this year, and frankly, The Animal is one of the worst comedies I've seen in ages. It's Rob Schneider in a bunch of dumb situations which are too tame to be edgy and too lame to be funny. At least with Freddy Got Fingered, the film has some bravery, some ambition. That ambition may be to shock and offend everyone, but at least it wants a reaction from its audience. And in the 20 years since this film has been made, there is still nothing like it. The only film I could compare to it would be The Greasy Strangler, simply because it pushed the limits on what is acceptable, not because its artistic style is similar. But I'll talk about that film another day, because that's a whole story in itself. Freddy Got Fingered is vile and explicit, but above all, it's goddamn hilarious. It's offensive, but not to race, gender, or sexuality. It's offensive to everyone in the spirit of good taste. It's almost like Tom Green just trolled the entire world with this film. He just pushed out to get a reaction, and he got that because people have condemned this film everywhere. It's always on the list of worst films of all time. Now keep in mind, I'm a person with a dark sense of humor, and I've got a soft spot for explicit horror in films. But in Freddy Got Fingered, Tom Green takes the depraved elements of those films and puts them into a comedy, which makes them so much more confronting because you're trying to relax when watching this movie. And keep in mind, this film is the toned down version of the film. Tom Green never got a chance to make the director's cut because he was never granted the footage. I will admit, I was a little bit put off by Tom Green's performance at times in this film because he just went so over the top and ridiculous that it became a little bit much at times. But at the same time, he made the character seem real and played this complete psychopath with perfect tenacity. But objectively, the best actor in the film is Rip Torn. His gruff attitude and sense of physical comedy is just hilarious. And plus, 95% of the things he does in this film are just reacting to his son's behavior, so they're actually really justified and it makes him a sympathetic character. Freddy Got Fingered gets 8 acts of bestiality out of 10. The fact that it's considered one of the worst films of all time by so many people means that Tom Green did exactly what he set out to do. His film is competently assembled and perfectly coherent in every technical sense, but it's also shocking, twisted, and vile, and goddamn it, it is hilarious. It still holds up with that same level of shock value 20 years later. And for all that, it's completely fucking hilarious. And that does it for today's episode of Delightfully Devilish, you guys. If there's any ideas of movies you want me to discuss on the show, please leave them in the comment section below. If you want to see more episodes, please hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, until next time, I've been your host, Jukebox Harry. Peace.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausage?